Hey everyone, how's it going? This is an introduction to the Minnow Man Fan Club, where I'll be talking about life, competition, and what's really going on in the world from my point of view. And the reason I started this fan club vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is I've been already podcasting since 2016, believe it or not. I've had over 1,800 episodes that I posted on various platforms throughout the years. And I decided that it was time to go ahead and change the format to have more of a visual connection with the listener. And I feel that's important to me because sometimes when people say things, you're not able to see it in the context, right? And since we're not going to be talking one-on-one or in person, or many of you may not even know me on a personal level, because there's people out there that know me, but there's people out there that haven't known me for a while. And as we all know, if 20 years passes by and you don't interact with that person that you met 20 years ago shouldn't be the same as they are now. Of course, there's some things that are going to always be the same, but there's a lot of changes that have happened during that time span. So I think this is going to be an introduction to the people that I know from my past, from my Lakeland days, from Florida Southern and Lakeland High School, and all these different backgrounds, living in Atlanta and obviously being in Naples here for over 20 years, and reconnecting with people and having an idea of what I've been up to, what I think about, and being able to share from a point of view that I feel I come from, which is non-biased. I try to be as open-minded as I can be about things and be sympathetic to understand our different points of view, because we all know that in life it's not binary or black and white. There's a lot of different nuances that go on into a lot of things that are happening in the world, and I try to be a person that understands all the sides and still follow a certain compass. I wouldn't say morality or spirituality, whatever you want to call it, but it's based on the element of being good. And humanity, I think this one's binary, evil. There's people that are doing evil things and there are people that are doing good things. And I like to think that I come from the mindset of understanding that we all fall short of the glory. We all have our mistakes. We all have our shortcomings. But at the end, many of us or most of us are trying to do good in society. So I think that for me, being able to express from a perspective of having an athletic background, being able to know that I started playing sports at a very late age in athletics youth, 17, 18 years old, when I picked up a basketball and played organized, to becoming at the end a semi-professional playing in professional leagues. It's something that I know a bit about the hard work aspect of it and dealing with the challenges and the obstacles of not, what's the word I'm looking for? Of not always overcoming the odds, if that makes sense. So my athletic background created a great foundation for me to deal with many of the adversities that many of us deal with in life. I think that I also, in addition to that, I have a very unique background upbringing that many people don't know about, that I feel it's time for me to connect and to share without shame, without fear of judgment. Because again, my body of work is one where I'm a professional, I'm educated, I have my credentials, both in the business degrees, masters. I have broker's license. I have real estate licenses and things of that nature. So I don't have a criminal record, and all these different things that I encompass, I believe, are going to resonate with somebody out there, or help somebody that may be in a similar situation, because for many years I would think that no one understood my story, so I never shared it. I remember just talking to somebody recently that said, wow, man, I wish you would have shared that with me when we were first talking back in the day, because I would have looked at you differently. And I said to this person, I said, I didn't have the courage to speak on it because I was so ashamed. I was so disappointed as I got to experience life that the nuclear environment I came from was full of dysfunctionality and many toxic traits that I'm still trying to work through to this day. But I think I've done a pretty good job. And I say that simply because I'm a dad, and my daughter is totally opposite. She sees the world through sunshine and rainbows and sprinkling fairy dust. And if life for her can be a theater show or a musical, she's all in. But it lets me know that the love that we poured into her and the guidance that I've given her and the things that I've done, although not perfect, that I was able to break the generational cycles that I came from. It all dies with me. So, but I think it's good to tell my story because there's many people out there that have been through that cycle or are currently going through it and never met anybody that, again, I'm not famous. Sometimes I feel that when someone's famous is hard to connect with them because the first thing someone will say, well, it's easy for you to say because you're making millions or you're doing this. And I'm a regular working person. I would consider myself working class. And I feel that I've had some great opportunities, but I'm happy where I'm at. As far as my status in life and where I'm at, of course, I want things to get better and always have goals because that's, again, the athlete background in me and competitiveness of trying to push myself to be the best, whatever that looks like. But now I'm content and I'm happy and I'm at a point in life where I want to share my story, and it's not for sympathy. It's not for people to give me a handout or anything like that because I've never been that way. I think that's part of the reason why so many people supported me in my earlier days because I wasn't complaining. I wasn't saying anything, and many of them could read between the lines and understand that I have some challenges that average kids don't have. And I think that I'll dive into that a little bit deeper. And of course, during this journey, I've been able to gather so much business experience, even though I'm not a business owner where I'm employing people. Like I have a business, but it employs one person, me. But I have so much knowledge because once I was able to figure out that working for somebody and working up the ladder for CFO was not the only option in the world, because that was ultimately my goal in college, because that's all I knew. All I knew was that, okay, well, everyone keeps screaming education. This is the way you got to go. And you go ahead and do it. And you get there and you understand that there's time you have to put in to get to ultimately a position you want to be in. But I realized that during that path of pursuing to be a CFO for Fortune 500 company, that there was other avenues of achieving financial success. So I think that once I dove down that rabbit hole, I was exposed to a plethora of people from different walks of life that have been influential in understanding entrepreneurship in America and the value of it, and how we need to be more aware of the good things and the bad things, the potential and the shortcomings. And I'll go into all of that with personal stories that I've had with people over the years as to what business principles I believe people should follow. Because I may be working, but I see many people achieving success through these principles that I'll be talking about. And then I think it's just the various things I love about life. I love sports, obviously, so I'll be talking about that. Entertainment. I don't know if I want to get into politics. I think that's something that I know that it will be divisive for people because there is no nuance in politics. I come from the mindset that we have more things in common than differences. So if we have differences in who we voted for, who cares? We still like good food. We still like good music. We still like to go out and live life and enjoy it. And it's just many other things to to enjoy together, because we're all collectively part of a same family. We're all humans, just different colors. We grew up in different regions biologically, and we are just culturally different, but we all can. I could donate blood to somebody that doesn't look completely like me, and that lets you know how connected we truly are, even though distance and culture keeps us separated. But I like to want to stay in the positive. I think that my podcast for many years took a little bit of satire and raunchiness. I would say that my podcast for years was a combination of Bill Burr, Joey Diaz, Donnell Rawlins, with a little bit of Dice Clay in it. All of those people. So I was really graphic and extreme about a lot of things I talked about, which I have no shame for, because it was funny and people could relate with. Just like if they go to a comedy show to hear Joey Diaz and hear Bill Burr, there's things that are going to be said that are not going to be comfortable because of the vernacular being used, but ultimately is a perspective that I was comfortable with at that time, and that was a stage in my life. But if things come back from that time, it's like Snoop Dogg says, I said it. Yeah. Okay. Like what I meant it at that time. Absolutely. But it's nothing controversial. It's nothing crazy. But I'm just saying that for people, because I know a lot of the old fan base that I've had, they were very much conservative in the things that they would like to hear. So unfortunately, but for me, because I'm more eclectic and been exposed to different things, I can see the humor in all of it. And I think that's a more of a George Carlin perspective that I have. And again, another comedian that has been influential to me, because he was a person that didn't pick sides. He told you the truth, whether you wanted to hear it or not. And just like I like to spew my opinion and my authenticity, I'm always receptive to the feedback and criticism I receive in return. Because I think you get to a stage where you understand that people just have good intentions. People are not trying to bring you down. They're not trying to do anything negative to you. Is that sometimes people project their fears or concerns in ways that come across as criticism. And I don't let that get to me. If I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I will continue to be this way. I think this is just a unique perspective. And the reason I started, and I'll leave with this, and the reason I started doing this many years ago, again, I started podcasting back in 2016. It was for my daughter to have her version of me. Like, my daughter knows me, but there's different sides of her that I want her to see of me, because we're all dynamic people. We're all people that at the end of the day, we have such unique personalities that come out in different environments around different people, right? And I think that for me, it's important. It's so important to make sure that I honor who I am as a person, be authentic. I don't ever want to come across as I'm perfect, because I fall short of the glory all the time. But I also know that my sum total of who I am as a person is awesome, is great. It's a positive contribution to society. And I think that I've been so influential and supportive of many people over the years that I'll be talking about and I'll be sharing stories about throughout this journey. And I think it's going to be interesting for all of you that are tuning in, whether you know me or you don't know me, that I come with good intentions. And I try to share my opinions from a place of understanding what the masses can agree upon. Because ultimately, I think that's where people miss the mark, is that what is something that all of us can relate with in this topic, in this discussion? What is it that we can do? And I think I'm going to take a little bit of journalism where I just bring up what is being said and discuss it. and then if I have an opinion on it, I'll share it, but it's always going to come from a perspective that's understanding all sides involved. But yeah, for many years, I talked about random things, politics. I talked about current events. I talked about dating, which was it became a real funny comedy because I had a friend recently reach out to me and was telling me about Kevin Samuels, which is another online personality that passed away many years ago. But he was telling me, hey, the stuff that you're talking about, this guy's talking about. I'm like, oh, that's great. I started it because the reason for me doing that was simply I was seeing how different the dating landscape was once I got divorced and I was out dating again. And I was seeing the hypocrisy and the double standards that were being showcased during that time. And, I've gotten to a point now where I'm good. If the perfect person comes in, great, no problem. But my priorities right now is my career and my parenting and obviously taking care of myself. So I think it's very important for me. But I want to share all the things that I just mentioned. I think it's important to put my story out there because there's no one else that can tell my story but better than myself, right? And ultimately, this is a journey that I want to share, and I want to have it on there so that once I'm long and gone, if my daughter has children and grandkids and I don't get to see them, or great grandkids there, at least have an understanding of the eclectic and unique, I was going to say weirdo, but just the very different perspective that I bring. And a lot of it comes from the different environments that I grew up in, the different people that I've been around from different walks of life. And I've tried to understand different points of views. And like I said, many people won't understand a lot of this. People would not catch on or may disagree vehemently about things that I say, which is fine. I'm not trying to get anyone mad, or I think we have enough of that in the world, right? And so that's why I took more of a comedic take, but I'll be doing all of that and then some. And I just wanted to thank all of you that are, even if it's just one person that just happens to stumble upon this. It's okay. I appreciate you even taking a minute to listen to this and to take in what I have to say, because I hope that through it all, whatever I say, whether you think it's valid, whether you think I have the credentials to speak on it, I'm going to come from a very authentic perspective, which I feel it is missing a lot out there because people are motivated by money. And I'll leave with this, is that when I'm doing this, it's not for monetary reasons. My podcast, I never made 1 cent from it, but I loved it. I love doing it. I continue. And as you can see, I'm shifted to now a visual podcast in a way. And for me, it's just so important to go ahead and be able to share, because money, at the end of the day, whether it's sports, whether it's arts, whenever money gets involved, it tends to corrupt the creative or the purity of that product. So I think with podcasting, from my point of view, if it was ever to get into a monetary position, I think I will have to make sure that it doesn't compromise the person that I'm projecting of being every day. Because one thing I've learned about myself many years ago when I started podcasting, through my all internal thoughts, the first thing that came out when I was trying to figure out my new journey in life post-divorce was, be honest with yourself. That was something that many of us, quite frankly, are not able to do because of the fear of judgment, of being ostracized, of not being part of a social group, whether it's family, whether it's a friendship, whether it's neighbors, right? We're always afraid of being exiled of a group, so we tend to stick with a certain narrative, which I understand because we need that in life. We need we need to have some rules, right, when we're dealing with a community. But the thing that we've gone away from is the ability to to be authentic. I think that's why a lot of the comedians and their podcasts are doing well, because they're being honest. And I think that's something I want to honor about this journey that I'm taking on as I'm doing it now visually. So, and I've just revamped it now. Instead of Minnows from Mars, now it's Minnow Man Fan Club. And I was a ode to my Lakeland roots, because at the end of the day, I love Lakeland. I love what the foundation it gave me, all the people, Lakeland High School, college, Florida Southern College, of course, and just the community in general, that all the people that were always forever connected with, that foundation was so integral for me. And I want to pay homage to all the people. Believe it or not, people used to show up with that logo, t-shirts, and shout out to Kirk Hart, shout out to Stokes, shout out to the Hawks, and everybody that will show up to the games with the shirts on, man. It was, looking back, I never liked looking back, but just looking back at it was very cool to know that I had that type of support. And I want to honor those people that were supportive of me, that were always in my corner, even though we weren't family, even though there was no type of relationship other than them seeing me as a person with nothing to give in return. So I'm very humbled and appreciative of all of you that were a part of that journey and continue to be from afar. So this is my way of staying connected with you. This is my way of sharing how life has been for me and the things that now I'm courageous enough to talk about. So I look forward to many more of these, and I just wanted to give an intro. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it.